Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Compelling Conversations podcast. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Toby. Toby, thanks so much for being here.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm truly very excited to have you here because this just seems so fitting. Like it's the end of the semester, and it's like these are the fresh thoughts, man. These are the fresh thoughts right here, right now. So I'm
Right
curious, like,
here, right
what do you
now.
think, man? What's on your mind?
It's not even finished yet, you know. There's still one more.
You're right.
There's still one more exam next week. But man, like it's been a long fight. It's been a long fight, and the battle still continues next week. But geez, like I haven't had this much breathing space. Yeah, since January. Let's be real. So yeah, it feels good. It feels good. To just be relieved. But yeah, um, it was just a long fight.
It
So.
really was, man. The way
mm.
that I put it into words for myself is these past few months felt like a jail sentence to me. And it just
Yeah,
felt like I was just having to go through the motions. And now it
you're
feels like,
telling
okay,
me.
yeah, it just now there's like a little bit of relief, but it was like that's quite the journey.
Yeah, a journey indeed. Lots of character development, took place.
It really did, man. And I really enjoyed the sort of stoicism that you possessed anytime I saw you. You're just kind of like chilling, really. That's the word for it. You're just chilling. Even if you weren't
Yeah.
inside, you seemed it.
I mean, one thing about me is like, I love my peace, like, like just peace of mind. And that's when you're at your best, just when like nothing's out here trying to like just take you away from, what you have going on with your thoughts within your heart and stuff like that. So yeah, like even in the most stressful situations, like I will choose peace over stress. Of course, like we have to get business done, we have to study, whatever, but um within those realms, like just peace, 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 peace. Because that's how you lose yourself when you don't have it.
Yeah. What do you think gave you peace this semester?
Hmm. um, Definitely some music I listen to. Um, yeah, jeez. I gotta think on that question. Um, because if I had the same semester as the fall semester, how can I put it? Like, the thing that makes the biggest difference outside of school for me this semester compared to last semester was falling out of a friendship and stuff like that. And that really like took a toll and stuff. But like like last semester, I would have said that that would have been like a good piece resource to say. Um, Which yeah, I guess now that was like a big stress resource. Um, yeah, okay. Back to the point though. Definitely music. Running, going on runs, walks. Being in tune with nature and tea. Tea, I love tea. Tea is definitely something more physical that I feel like when I drink it at home, it's like I have that moment to myself to just enjoy it. Really,
Yeah.
Yeah. My We have tea. It's called rooibos tea. It's from South Africa. Man, when I tell you that this tea is like it's it's heaven sent.
What's
So
it called again?
rooibos. It's Roibos. It's Afrikaans for red bush.
Interesting.
And yeah, I can't go into much more detail on that, but it's divine.
I'll take your word for it, man. That's interesting. There's
Yes,
something
sir.
that you had said to me this semester. I wrote it down. It was just so profound, was how sometimes just closing one door literally opens up multiple ones.
That's
Have you
right.
experienced that? this semester.
Yeah, yeah. So that friendship that I was talking about, closing that, opened up the door to making a lot more friendships. Um, One thing about who I am and my character is like I'm someone that's I try to be as genuine as possible. And never to judge another person because we're all human at the end of the day. We all have things that we struggle with, we go through. And, how can I look at another person and be like, yeah, no, you look like whatever, whatever. Meanwhile, deep down, he's going through so much more than I can even fathom. And he's still here today, growing from strength to strength, having to deal with the fact that other people are calling him out, calling him out, pointing out the fact that these things are what's going on in his life, So, yeah, back to the topic, like, close that friendship door and like open the more genuine ones. And the thing is like, um, and the little things that you do, like as like thoughtless as they can be to you, like one man's trash is another man's treasure, like, and the thing is like, I really like stand on that because like just a simple gesture that's natural to you can be seen to someone else as wow, like no one else has ever shown me this much compassion before. And I really needed this in my day today because so and so happened with my parents this morning, or so has been happening for the past 10 months. And I've really battled this, and for someone to show me this much compassion, it means a lot to me. Meanwhile, it's just to me, it's just like, yeah, no, here's a message that I stumbled across. I just thought of you. That was it. So um
I love that.
that's that's what I'd say.
Yeah, no, I really like that actually a lot. I try to practice that as well, where it's like that thing you said specifically with the message, it can really change someone's life. I feel like, and there was something I'd read recently, which is the present moment was once upon a time the unimaginable future.
That's right.
And for me, this really does feel that like a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's wild. And I also wanted to mention how we met because I just think it's so funny how this all happened. We met playing volleyball just randomly.
Yep.
And it was like, hey, you've never seen me around? No, you've never seen me? No. It's like, and then at the end, it was like, okay, well, nice meeting you. Probably never see you again. And
Type.
here
Yeah.
we are now. You know how that happens? It's just so random. And you could just
Hmm.
never predict that. But it's
We
like,
didn't even, yeah, we didn't even connect after the volleyball. It's like whenever we met that we actually established that connection right there.
yeah. And I think that's
So
so cool because I think just like something so small like that is so hopeful because you really just don't know what's to
that's
come,
right.
you know?
That's right. Hmm. I
Yeah.
mean, meeting at that volleyball, like that was a door opening that, we didn't close. So it allowed more
Oh,
doors to open up,
I
like,
love that statement
being here
right
on this,
there.
being here on this podcast.
Yeah, yeah, no, for real, man. It's wild. Like even when I think about going to the museum with you, it's like, damn, like we did that. Like how wild is that? It might seem
Hmm.
small, but it's like that's a memory. That's something that
Definitely.
lives in time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Lives in time. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you think friendships live in time even after they're over?
definitely. Ooh, when you say over, like, when you say over, is it like it had to end because things were bad, or like just like, you've moved places and like moved countries even to say type?
I'd say both.
They definitely still do live in time. Um, I'm trying to think. It depends on also the basis of the friendship. Like certain friendships are built off divine intention, are built off two people that share they don't even have to share values or interests. It could be like two people that, have values that they could exchange to help, build each other. Um, and it doesn't even have to be on that level too. It could just be like you guys were in the same setting, same space, and you guys had interactions. Um, Now, like those interactions, as significant or as little as they may seem, they'll always have its moment in time where um, it definitely meant a lot more than it did. Like during that time, it would mean a lot more. Um, but like as time goes by, like depending on how significant it is, um, would have its like significance in terms of like its moment in time, if that makes sense again.
Yeah. It's making me think about how that one time we had a discussion on pictures and images, and we were talking about how when you have like a picture with someone, and then you kind of
Mm-hmm.
like look back at it, and you're like, perhaps you're not with that person anymore as a friend or whatever. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that, like, what is that? You know what I mean? It's like an artifact of its own.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, those moments that were captured, like these are moments that, like, when you look at it, like you can actually reflect on not just that specific moment in time, you can reflect on maybe what was going on in that event. And the thing is, like, one thing about life, right, like, is the connections and the people we establish, like, those things will always have like more meaning than like materialistic things because like when you have someone that like respects you, someone that understands you, someone that always had their best interest in heart, like those things mean a lot more than like, you know, like, because the thing with money, it's like, you can have times where you have money, you can have times where you don't have it. The thing is, like, when you don't have it, you have the chance to make it. When you have it, you still have the chance to make more. Like, with like, regardless, it comes and goes, and like, depending on what you're doing, you can either make it or not make it. But like those types of genuine establishments with people, like, there's not too many people out here that, you know, have divine intentions for people. So, um, those like connections are will like sit in the mind and the heart a lot more than those other things. So sorry, back to the topic though.
No, you're
Back to
good, man.
the picture stuff. It's like also when you reflect on the picture now, when you look at the person, you remember that damn, this is someone that, you know, for example, this is someone that there's so many different scenarios, but like let me pick out one like this is someone that when I was at my lowest, he sent me memes on Instagram, and he really lifted my spirits on a on a day-to-day basis. And he allowed me to laugh, and he brought joy to me whenever I was dealing with depression, for example. Um like all those moments you've had with that person can come back at an instant flick in one picture. And that's the power of pictures, so um
Yes, and that's also the power of songs too, eh? As you mentioned earlier. You can hear a
that's right.
song literally ties you back to a time. It's
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially like classic, not well, maybe not classical music, but like music from like what 2005, 2006, like like bro, like listening to a song from then can really like awaken what your sense of spirit was like back then, like where you were in life, like it's it's not even about the song, like what the lyric is or what the beat is. It's just like it's about the time when it was discovered. Because I feel like, sorry, I feel like whenever you watch a movie for the first time, right? And you sit there, you're like, you don't know what to expect, right? And certain things come to surprise you, certain things come to shock you, certain things come to excite you, Um, you can only have those things like the first few times you watch it. Um, but then again, like the narrative around it can shift also when like you have different ties and connections with that movie. To say so now to translate that to music, it's like, say you come across a good song for the first time, you're listening and you get all these like emotions and ties with the song in that moment, just because like, wow, I've never heard this before. I'm gonna keep on listening and listening. And when you especially share that with someone, or you share that in a point of your time where point a point in life where like it may not be definitive at that point in time, whenever like your life in a sense changes years later, um that song will put you back at a time where you thought it wasn't definitive and make it more definitive, make you more aware of how definitive it was, to like point out how like, wow, life is so different now. Like back then, um, I used to do this, I used to do this, I used to do this. Now I'm tied down with a lot more responsibilities or what. But no, there's definitely a lot of beauty in it. That like while you're listening to the song, it doesn't really you're not aware of it until like much later. That's one thing about life that is just it is the way it is.
Yeah. Is there a, I know you have a lot of very interesting, um, you post a lot of different lyrics. Is there one in particular that means a lot to you right now?
Hmm. Any context possible.
Any context possible.
I gotta think on this one. Yeah, you mentioned that, and I started thinking of like the songs that I listen to a lot right now, like just to have on repeat. Oh, there's a song called EXO by J.O. I came across this song maybe in September, and the thing is like the first time I heard it, okay, so I was listening to like a drill playlist, right? Shuffling it, and like when I heard it for the first few seconds, I was like, this don't sound like drill, but like I let it play, and man, like after 30 seconds, I was like, bro, this is a different tempo, this is a different mood. And bro, I found it in September, right? At the end of the year, whenever I did my like Apple replay, like most listened to songs, I think it was second for most listened to song. Like I had it on repeat for that long versus songs I've known since January. Like it overtook all of them. Um, a lyric from that song that like I do love a lot. It's like um in the beginning of the song, it's how does the song go? Let me quickly let me quickly check the lyrics before I clown myself.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some lyrics that say, God on my side today. And then in the hook, he says, no stress, no enemy. So I just love I just love those two things. Because like when you don't have stress, you don't have any enemies. And that's why I'm like, I love my peace because I don't like to make enemies. Like I don't intend on making enemies. Just one thing about life, when you're at a good spot and people don't want the best for you, like it's gonna happen. It's bound to happen, but it's up to you to channel the noise to what you want for yourself. That's a bit off topic, but yeah, definitely.
No, that's a
um
very good point, actually. Do you think enemies make you?
Definitely. Definitely. I feel like it easily goes both ways. I feel like I feel like there's so many different ways that it can come about as well. Something as simple as like miscommunication or misjudgment. Um, Very small instances of that on a one-time occasion can bring forth an enemy, even though it wasn't intended. Um, but ways where it could be where it's definitely intended is just like, you know, over things like jealousy, over things like greed, um, selfishness, when people see things in you that they longed for themselves, that maybe just comes naturally to you. Like this can be um something physically, something materialistic, um, a lot of like negative emotions can come forth from that. And that's why they could tie you in as an enemy from there. So um yeah, that's what I'd say.
It's a very good point. Yeah, I've experienced that. It's rough because it's like you would think that certain people are your friends for so long and then they just change because of that. It's
Mhm.
like, damn, so these are your true colors, but that person I knew for all this time was someone else. Isn't that so interesting?
That's the worst type of like pain, when it's especially someone that you've grown a lot with, someone that you spent a lot of time with. And um, actions will always speak louder than words. And the thing is, during that time, like with their actions, they always prove themselves, or in a sense, yeah, they would have proved themselves to the point where you can't detect that they would switch up eventually, or they'd throw you down in the mud. Um, but yeah, like, one thing that also comes with actions speak louder than words is definitely, um, how do I say it? Uh, Over time, true colors always reveal themselves. Um, and yeah, as disappointing as it can be in certain situations, um, yeah, true colors always, end up showing themselves. So when you have people that you've been locked in with for years, despite, going separate ways, despite moving, um, and the genuinity is still the same, like those are establishments that you can have for a very, very long time. Um, just because they've proved themselves over and over and over in different times and different settings. Like they don't even need to like tell you that, I'm here for you. Like they've proven it for so long. So those are very good establishments that like in my life I definitely love to hold and keep, especially with, you as well. Like even in as short as we've known each other, like, you did check in with me a lot this semester. Especially in moments where I definitely needed it. Um, and yeah, it's dear to me, and it's like, you know, um those actions phenomenal, phenomenal. So yeah,
Yeah, no, of course, man. I think kindness is perhaps the most important token of someone's soul. There's something I've realized about myself where I don't know if it's like a hypersensitivity, so to speak, but I'm just so drawn to the people that like treat me with kindness. And then
mm,
people that just like are kind of mean, I'm just so immediately repulsed by.
that's
It's
right.
I don't know if that's too much or like if that's just how it should be, you know?
It's I feel like with that it comes that's that's someone that's very self-aware when you can sense, you know, we're all human, and of course with that comes a lot of differences, but at the end of the day we're still very much so connected. We all, um have organs, we all have limbs, we all have bones, we're all distinctly the same with a lot of differences, right? So now, when someone is self-aware and they know what they want in their life or what they already have in their life and just want to keep it recurring, like, keep it coming, like whenever you interact with another person that you don't know, you can already sense, like, is this something that, like, in this current moment in time, is this something that like I want to allow? And if it's like, it's a good conversation, cool, you allow it. And then from there, like when you draw more instances from that sort of energy that you're getting from that person, um, that could determine like, okay, this is someone that I could, probably like I'll probably see them tomorrow, or maybe we can exchange contact and I get to understand this person a little bit more just because of the energies that you drew from them. And you being self-aware, you knew that this is the type of energy you want to be associated with. This is the type of like um person that, there's something valuable here that I can learn from. Um, it doesn't just have to be just drawn off kindness as well, just like, something of interest that, you know, either builds your character, um, through learning, through, just the experience with them, through listening or whatever. But yeah, not just build your character, but also just like is of your interest as well. Um, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, no. And I met this guy at my cousin's wedding in Austin, and he said these words that just when they escaped his mouth, they were just so powerful. He's like, maybe it's just not the right time. And it's just so true, man. It's just so true. And I think about that in terms of like you and me being friends, right? When we first met, It's like it was kind of vague, you know, we're in a group setting, and so she's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And then
Hmm.
it's like now, like time later, it's like, "Oh, okay, we're friends." That connection manifested later, type of a thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Another thing that I've been thinking about lately is I really like that Giver story. I don't know if you ever read that book or seen that movie, The Giver.
How does it go?
Yeah, so it's like a dystopian society, right? Where everything's equal, everything's the same. There's no excitement, there's no fear or just emotions repressed. Any life is just repressed, right? It's all
Hmm.
stable. But there's like one person in the society that has all the memories of humanity before, right? And how life was. He's got all the emotions, he's got just everything with him in his mind, his memories. And so it's his duty to give it off to someone so that when he dies, they can take it on.
Hmm.
So the story is about, how this guy, he's like receiving all these memories. It's like, wow, like this is life. And long story short, he's trying to like save his society and like leave. But what allowed him to do this was having all those memories in his head. I thought it was just so powerful that he has all these memories and they give him the strength to do the things that he does. It's like that's the story of man, eh? Like we
That's
can
right.
really do so much just because of the memories that we have.
Yeah. I mean, that also ties in with having a sense of self. Like, we all have different stories, have different things that make us who we are today. We all came from different beginnings, and um, true character is built through like experiences. It doesn't even have to be struggle. That's where like real strength and like characters developed. But like simple, something as simple as growing up in a what growing up in a religious background setting. um you know when you self-reflect 20 years later, you'd either come to realize, oh, I've really shied away from that, or oh, I've really made it a lot more personal to myself, or um irrespective of what you make of it, like that'll always be a part of where you were at a point in time. So yeah, that definitely carves out like um you know our stories, and just more things about self-awareness.
Yeah, and although artifacts like pictures or movies or music or any of that are beautiful, like our memory perhaps suffices enough. Like you could remember a song in your head. You could remember a
Yeah,
time and experience. It's like might not be there physically, tangibly, but like that's enough for you. And it's like even like for instance, like in this time that I've interacted with you, it's like you've done things or said things like that carries on in my memory and that
mhm.
influences whatever I do. It's like how wild is that?
Exactly. I saw something on Instagram that was like, I want you to use your imagination as best as possible. And it was like, imagine you in your form as of right now. You're approaching your childhood bedroom door. And just in that already, like, I like saw like, the house I used to live in from when I was like, what, born basically up until I was like 7. And it only said bedroom door, but I already saw the color of the whole house. I saw the garage, I saw the gate, I saw um, the hallway, the entrance, the kitchen, the living room. And then I saw like, because it's like when it says like approaching the door, it's like it also paints the picture of like um how like the route you're taking to get to the door. So, and then after that, in the post was like, imagine, you're walking through this door, and that already means that you're gonna see the room that you used to sleep in for those all those years, and it's like, imagine that you see yourself at that age where you were young, like, and it was like, what do you think makes him what he is today, and like what advice would you give him? at that stage. Now, of course, he's like me at that stage. I guess I was like 6. What am I gonna like? I have not experienced life enough to actually, take something to take advice from someone, Um, but yeah, just in that like post, like man, it threw me back not just to um the bedroom door, it took me back to like what life was like at that time, like, what Toby at that age was doing. He had no stress. He was, just starting out like elementary school and stuff like that. So um yeah, I mean, something like that. Um, in other people's case, good or bad, that's always going to be a part of their story. Because those are things that just shape us to who we are. So there's definitely a lot of value in that because um, you know, all these people that we look up to, all these people with money, all these people that have, saved our society, all these people that do all these things. There was a point in time where they were also very clueless about what's going on, very young and just, were just doing their own thing, and that's why I can like that's why like when I look at people that really like praise and worship all these like celebrities and stuff, I'm just like, at the end of the day, these are also just people. Of course, like these are people with that yield a lot of power in our society that can send a message, half the world sees it in an instant. Like that's incredible power, right? But like there was a point in time where we were all just the same, just like born to our parents, and that was a big reflection on like where we would head in life, so um yeah, that's like the beauty of like seeing where we came from and knowing that there was a point in time where um we were all like where I was connected with someone. Yeah, he's 20 years older than me, right? But like there was a time in his life where we were in the same sort of boat in terms of like what's going on or our outlook on life, so yeah, as different as it will be like, in the years where like we're like 8 years old, like yeah, but yeah, just to say.
Yeah, it is very true. How do you feel in this moment right now?
Oh man, I don't know, I feel like everything's working. Like just in my head. I feel like I've been just thinking a lot more. And I like that, like you know, self-awareness, peace of mind, these are things that I value a lot. So just this conversation has like built up on that. So it's definitely going to carry me, not just in this moment, like this whole summer, because I don't necessarily have set plans as of right now. Um, but I'm trusting God that, everything will go well, inshallah, and stuff. So
Inshallah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I started this podcast like nearly a year ago, and it's like the journey it's taken, all the people I've come across. It's like you just don't know. It's just so unimaginable. I didn't know
mhm,
you this time last year.
that's right.
It's just so cool that things like this happen.
Yeah,
And yeah, I really like how you said that thing about being clueless because I think sometimes you can be clueless, but you're not necessarily lost.
that's right.
And to be frank, you strike me as that kind of a man. So I that's something.
Yeah, that's a big compliment. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm curious, Toby, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you felt like you wanted to say, but didn't get a chance to, or something on your mind that you wanted to express?
Especially closing the semester. Let me say, um, everything's temporary, That's something that I learned to a heavy extent this semester. But yeah, with that being said, everything's temporary. And what I mean by that is, when things are going bad, when like struggle is coming, like, always push yourself to the maximum that you can day in, day out. Work as hard as you can because there'll always be a light at the tunnel where you will escape from that time, where you will escape from your traumas, you'll escape from your difficulties, and you'll find victory, But even in times of victory, even when things seem to be as perfect as they can be, that also doesn't last, unfortunately. There will be times where, things turn south. There will be times where we pick up an injury. There will be times where we pick up an illness or something like that. And the yeah, it's unfortunate that it's a good thing that's like come to like change. But the thing about those good times is that because it's temporary, I feel like I've been made more aware to cherish and appreciate those moments, so um yeah, that's my closing remarks. Everything's temporary. When things aren't going good, keep strong, push as hard as you can. It's not the end of the world, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And when things are going good, take more time to appreciate things, take more time to give it more value than it has, so that you know, when things do go south, you can also just reflect that, this is not the way things will always be. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And it's so true. And as you were saying all those things, I was just literally reminiscing on like all that time that we spent the semester, like the workshop and spring
Hmm.
break had happened. And it's like, wow, you're right. Like I said, right? For me, it felt like a jail sentence. But like
Hmm.
it's the people like yourself and others that made it nice, even in that blur. And you're right. Like now it's just we're closing off and it's temporary, you know? So you
Yeah,
just kind of stick through with it. Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Toby, for being here, man. I'm happy to have you be a part of this. You know, I feel like it's like a mosaic, this podcast, and it kind of carries on with the journey. And honestly,
Definitely.
I'm very pleased to have had you be a part of this. So thanks for being here.
No, thank you for having me. It's been an honor, honestly. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, this will definitely carry me going forward. So no, I appreciate you so much for that.
I'm happy to hear that, man. Well, I suppose until next time, eh? Inshallah.
Until next
You
time,
take care, my friend.
peace be on you, brother. I'll take you.
Thanks. On to you as well.